Hmm. All right, I am here with the Ford GT. I'm actually should be live right now, but I'm not sure how this is working again. Testing it on the what is this thing called? XSplit broadcaster. So this is round two, and I'll see how well this works. In any case, people have asked about what about this car, this Ford GT? Is it any good after you finish the PC Cup? Well, it's okay. It's not a great car because it's not very fast. So even if you had it maxed out, this car will have limited Evo points at max. What I did here is I put it to stage 5 because in case you don't have all the stage 6, I'm going to start off with this tune here. So the stage 5 tune here will give you a max Evo of about 900 and change. Probably not 1,000. And if you don't have all the fusions, you might not even get to 960. You might be even lower, 800s or somewhere around there. So what you have is you have a car that's going to do about a 10.9. Once you tune it to the max Evo point, you should be able to get about a 10.1 out, well, 10.91 out of this car. And that's actually up here with a little bit less grip. You get kind of a 976, and that's a 10.92. But if you actually want to be dyno with this car, you have to put the grip down quite a bit until there's a drop in the Evo points. This is very common with some of these dyno beating cars. And in this case, it puts the Ford GT at 752. Well, I put you at a 11.3, but 11.3 doesn't mean you can't run a 10.9, right? Let's see if it'll still run that 10.9 or without too much of a problem, as long as you don't, constantly needle and stuff. So without bouncing the needle, the red line, 11.09. I can do better than that. The first shift wasn't very good. So that is your basic tune. I mean, this is a stage 5 tune. It'll beat dyno. It'll still do something. It really depends on what you want to do with it. You can do a slightly more aggressive and more effective tune if you have some stage 6 parts. For example, the stage 6 effects we know this here, the body does a lot for this car. And you'll watch this jump up when you have the body. And what that does is, though, you need to get your tire up there to get that back down. But notice, even when you drop it back down, you're now at 907. You can pump some nitrous in there, and that bumps it up a little more. Now, at some point, the balance shifts, but at this point, what happens is you now have more nitrous, so you can play with this. And now you watch that number go up. You have a 10.47 now, but the car actually can run a lot faster. 10.162. In fact, it's probably not going to get much better than that, but basically a 10.1 on a 10.4 is not too bad. Depending on which bracket you want to be in, either one's going to be pretty effective. So I'm going to go ahead and do this run real quick. So again, close to perfect run, but not absolute perfect, or the needle might actually do a 0 RPM drop. But if you otherwise launch it pretty well, don't shift that red line, this car should do close to what its optimal dyno would do, which is about a 10.2, 10.1. So 10.166 is what it says theoretically it can do. 10.469 is where I'm at. Now let's take this to live and play with it, see how it goes. And mind you, this is what's on stage 6. With full stage 5, obviously, you'll be running in the 11.4 bracket and doing about a 10.9, which isn't bad either. That's still competitive, but may not be super competitive. Even in this tune, it is not super competitive. It should keep up with quite a few cars in this bracket, but it may not actually win every race. However, anything that can run 3/10 or better than what its dyno is will be competitive in live. It's not going to just cause you to lose left and right. So here we go. Right, late shift on the first gear. That's going to cost me a bit. I am still pulling away, but that F12 can definitely catch me near the end of the track, and it did. That's probably a 10.3 run from me because of the poor shift in the beginning. Yep, right there. Now, he ran a 10.249 as well. That's probably around where I would run if I did everything right. So, is it because my car's in the wrong lobby or the down tune? Try again. So this time I'll try to drive a little better. No needle bouncing this time. Now he's catching up at the end. It's still going to be a close race, but I should have him this time. 10.138. Oh, wow. How about that? I beat Dino a little bit. So 10.337, 10.138. So it's certainly competitive. Got a decent amount of RP out of it. He didn't re-challenge. Let's see if he wants. Okay, this is another one of those cars that can easily be. Depending on how the tune is set up on this AMG GTR, I could. Okay, so again, bounce the needle a little bit there on one shift. So this could cost me a little bit. I'm going to slow down because I'm not supposed to win this one. And I won it anyway, but all right. So, but I made it very close, I think. Yeah, so this is a 10.5. This is right in the lobby range. Made a decent RP there, but I need to lose one and win one. Otherwise, this car is going to get bumped up. So it's time to lose. Now, Hugo might have given me that. See what he runs this time. I'm simply not going to use nitrous initially. That'll make this car run a lot slower without totally giving the opponent the run. Um, Now I ran 11.0 that time. Let's see what Hugo ran. 10.532. I'll challenge him one more time, see if he wants to do a little better or not. All right, so he could be fishing me. This car can easily run much, much faster than what he's been running. So do I want to take it on? All right, let's take it on. Worst case is I lose 200K. It's not a big deal. This time I'm not going to hold back on my shifts. Everything's shifted at optimal, which is no red line shifts. And it runs through at the 10.1 that I know it can do. And he does 10.523 again. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Hugo, you lose 200K. Do you want to challenge me again? I guess not. Doing my thing with it. I don't think it's a terrible car, but one of those cars you want to put too much effort into. But since you already got it built for the PC Cup, you might as well use it. Let's see. Anybody else want to do any racing? No. All right, here's another one. Oh, did he disappear? Nah. I was gonna say I was gonna try to race him, I should say, because sometimes it won't connect. But you can see where the other GTs are by kind of racing them in the lobby. Some people are pretty good at down tuning them, others are not. And this guy couldn't connect. Well, let's take on one of these guys. Oh, I guess not. How about this guy? Hmm. Not having much luck in the boom, disconnected. Ha, I knew it. Yeah, the disconnects are very common between my device versus, say, somebody with F12 no star. Let's see what he can do. I'm going to lose the first race since I just took one. Okay, let's take a look what he ran. 10.233. All right, this will be a challenge for me to. Oh, no, later. This will be a challenge for me to beat him. F12 naturally beat dyno, right? So I'm not really surprised. So now I gotta his time. Ooh, close, very close. I slowed down on the end there on purpose. Just want to see how tight he's running it. Yeah, that was pretty tight, but lost by about 1,000. Let's challenge him again. Maybe he'll bet. That would be fun. Oh, okay. I guess not. All right. I think he's slowing down on purpose this time because he knows as well as I do you don't want to win too many of those at greater than dyno speeds. Yeah, he took it easy on that one. All right, let's see if he'll challenge me. Hello. Nope. I guess not. All right. So that should be that with the Ford GT. I think I've proven my point that it's not a totally. So this one again, let me just recap real quick what I have it set up with. I put nitrous body and tire on it simply to get the car a little bit faster and get a little higher evo. You can do it with stage 5 only. It'll have the same effect, but the car is going to be slower and your evo point is going to be lower. And lower evo points means less RP when you go into live. Plus, your margin of error is a little bit tighter. So with this one, your max evo is about 962. And when you down tune it, you're only going to get about a 700 some point evo. So you're going to have like a 753. That'll put you at 11,360. You could probably go even a little tighter than that. Um, get it down to like 11,4, and then your optimal would only put you at about a 1094. So you still run the time. It's just not going to be as efficient in the grand scheme of it. So in live, that bracket is about a 11.4 to 10.9 actually. So you're going to be at the top of your bracket, which makes it pretty easy to be competitive. Again, it's just not going to run as tight as with the stage 6 nitrous tire and body. That's just a nice spot to be with on that end when you're racing. So again, 11,010 on a 11.3 dyno is pretty efficient. 11.4 almost. I can probably tweak it to give myself a better margin, something like this in the 11.5 bracket, and you'll still run a 11.1. So you're still always going to have that 4/10 no matter which way you swing it with this car, as long as you're running that tire down tune. If you're not running the tire down tune, this car is very hard to hit dyno with, and you probably won't win as much. So as long as you don't bounce it off of the red line, which is right at anyway. So you don't really need to do perfect shifts. Just do deep good. That will give you a pretty decent dyno beating tune. Not killer tune, but notice how he ran a 1104 versus my prior 1101, except right now I'm dynoing at 1105. So now I'm beating it by almost 5/10. Before I was beating it by about 3.5 tenths. So that's the difference. You're basically doing a greater down tune by slightly adjusting the final gear there. All right. So let's take a look at a different car here. So that was the Ford GT. Pretty good car. A little too slow for my taste. Not because it doesn't do the job. It's simply because this is kind of low when you have it tuned down. I don't like to see anything under 1,000 with a down-tuned car because it doesn't make the RP I need, and I don't want to grind my car over and over in live just to make a few RP. I would like to go in there and make 1,200 or more per shot. So that's kind of the goal I have always when I go into live. So let's take a look at this guy here. This is the Bugatti Chiron that we just had the wonderful Gold Cup with. And many people actually built it up maxed or even close to max, simply because you're going to run the cup anyway. You might as well get the car done. Before I go back to live with this car, I better add some gas if the game lets me. Woo! No, I refuse to let you add gas. All right, well, we'll figure that out later. So the Chiron can down tune as well. In fact, it runs a really nasty tune the way I have it set up. I'll show you what it does. Okay. Without going into too much detail here, this is adjustable, so you can always move that up to give yourself some more. 20, 199. But at this exact point, this car dynos 10.2. I'll show you what it'll actually run. This is why you don't bet money against a Chiron in live. Here we go. Gotta launch it kind of late. But then once you do that, this thing will move really well down the track. And it also, at this build level, without even going to a higher PP, uh, get through the speed challenge in Tier 5. So there you go, 9.4 on a 10.2. I wouldn't want to bet money against that. Okay, so now if you run it like this, you remember what I did with the Viper, right? You do it like this, your car's going to get bumped up a few lobbies within probably 3 races. So you don't want to be doing that and killing yourself. The thing about this car is though, you can't really adjust that to a smaller number. It either does a second faster or it does nothing. So you're kind of stuck. If you're going to do this, you're going to be stuck with that. So you're going to have to learn how to control the run. Here's how I control it. There are two, three ways you can slow your car down intentionally and basically control what your car runs in live without breaking your. This car will run just about, I would say, 2/10 faster than dyno without nitrous, just like that. 10.0 flat, and that's a 10.2 dyno. So without nitrous, it almost run 2/10 under dyno. Another option is don't run the sixth gear, run to fifth and then leave it fifth. That's another way to slow the car down intentionally, and that leaves you the margin of always shifting into sixth if you realize your opponent is catching you really fast. What happens is you basically leave it in fifth and kind of watch the other guy. Oh, is he catching up? Oh, I'll shift to six now. So that'll give you a 9 point something second run, but not as fast as a 9.4. That's a 9.6. If I didn't shift at all into six with nitrous on, that might have been a 9.7 to 9.8. So again, that's a bracket control. You can control which bracket you end up in with the down-tuned car, depending on how you drive it. But you always have the option to hit that nitrous at any time. So what do I have the car set up? Well, you need the nitrous, you need the body. This car really likes its body as six, and you need the tire as six. Otherwise, it's just not enough grip to pull this off. If I lower this to S5, actually, you watch that number jump, and that's at one. So at zero, it'll still be there. Now the car's not down tuned. There's no way you're going to be able to down tune it with stage five now. And that kind of kills the point of trying to down tune this. See how, notice how that doesn't change now. So when you run this, now it's going to run whatever dyno is saying it's going to run. Let's show you. So now it's at 9.58. And even if I drive it perfectly, I'm going to have a hard time hitting that. That's the difference between running it down tuned and running it without the down tune. So without the down tune, it all comes down to how good are you at driving this thing. And this is probably the best I'm going to do on my end with driving it, which is you launch it and kind of get into second and nitrous relatively quickly, and then near perfect or perfect shifts. And even that is slower than dyno by quite a bit. And that was the issue people were having during the Go Cup. They couldn't beat the Go Cup because they couldn't get dyno. Okay, now if you down tune it, the problem is it won't down tune without more parts. And if you down tune it right, it still won't beat the Evo Cup. So in the end, that whole Evo Cup thing came down to having enough upgrades. You don't have enough upgrades, you just wasn't going to win that other car. So again, stage six tires kind of important here. This I added in mostly because this adds a lot of Evo points. and it keeps my down-tuned Evo above 1,000. Always my goal. I don't like to be under 1,000. If you take away that, watch the drop. It goes down quite rapidly to a really low number. See how it jumped? That's 500 points, 400 points almost that it dropped with that one stage. So yeah, can you beat people with this? Absolutely. Are you going to make as good RP? Probably not. That's why I don't like to have it that way. The nitrous is optional. The real reason I put the nitrous here is again for this. You can put stage 5 nitrous and that'll change a bit. And it just kind of kills the Evo a little bit. But what it does is it still allows you to have your down tune. You still don't need to run nitrous to beat dyno. So basically, nitrous is just an optional touch there just to kind of give you little edge on the points. Oops. So again, you see here, you're still going to run a decent time, 10.7. Now watch, if you adjust the tire a little bit, you bump it up a little. Okay, and then if you put it to 2, you back up to 1400. This is now a 9.6 to, I believe, a 10.6, a whole second. More than a second, slightly more than a second. That's pretty crazy. Again, this is too much of a downtune really to be used effectively in live without risking getting bumped. But you have absolute control over the races if you want it. And if some sucker decides to bet you money, well, you can always take it from them. That's why you run these. I mean, I don't usually bet people unless they bet me. I'm not here to try to take your money, but the key is that if you want to risk your money, you have to know what your opponents can do. And I know which cards usually can be down tuned. Sometimes people surprise me, but they rarely do. So when I go in live, I kind of look for somebody to race with. I notice I'm not running the win loss spinner or the win loss here. So I'm not obligated to give you a win loss. I am running the Android symbol, which says I'm an Android trader. So if I see another Android guy with the A symbol, I'm definitely not going to be screwing the guy over on trades. So here, let's take a look. That car right there, Vorsteiner R8 definitely beats Dyno. You can down tune it. It's a little bit less of a down tune, I think, effectively than the RAV10 Plus, but it's a pretty good car nonetheless. So I'm not even going to use nitrous. I just want to see how close he gets if I don't use nitrous and I run it out back door. And he couldn't even catch me. So I'm obviously in the right lobby as far as what the times are. 10.3 lobby, doing a 10.0. This might even be a 10.4 lobby. This car usually beats dyno by up to 310 if you tune it right. So it's not a car to just ignore and think that they're really easy to beat. That's a tough car to beat. So let's see, Mr. Sinister. Let me see if anybody else here. Now he's not on a legendary crew. He may not be that well versed in the game, and he might actually be running dyno. Let's see how well this guy runs. So he's got a elite in mono. I'm gonna give him this race though. I don't want to keep winning with this car and it'll bump lobby. So I'm just gonna take it easy here and bounce the needle a little bit and let him kind of cruise past me. All right, let's see what he ran. All right, I want my win now. So you can give the guy the first one. You can re-challenge. Some people will actually raise a bet, which surprises me, but they do it. I don't ever take the first race from somebody at face value because they could be. You don't want to be the bait on the. You don't want to bite that bait on the hook and then lose a ton of money. So I don't usually go for these bets unless I know I got him at the rights. Here we go. All right, so this mono just ran a 10-2. I'm going to be running right on about a 10-1. I let it bounce a little bit in fifth. So he shouldn't be able to catch me. Yeah, so he's still consistently running that. So that's probably the best he's going to do. Our car without nitrous, basically. Look at that Evo point too. I have no WC going, right? No wild card. I'm just out here racing 1400. So that's why I like these 1000 plus Evo tunes because you get your points, you get your control in the lobby, and no problems whatsoever. Finally. All right, so let me see where I'm at now. Let's go back and okay. So I'm almost up to my silver keys, and that's really what really tonight I don't really care about making more points. My crew already got the 20 million, so we're getting the car tomorrow. You don't want to kill your cars the night before a new season either, because when the new season comes along, when you really need to start pushing for RP points, your car's going to be getting killed. Now, okay, you guys probably seen my Bachmano down tune video before, so you know what this car can do. And, oh, I can't connect to him. Damn it. I would have liked to have tried his down tune against mine. But the mono down tunes real well too. So generally speaking, unless you're running a car with a more powerful down tune and you know you got him, you may not want to be risking too much money on these bets. Because the Bach mono could run also about a second under if you tune it right. If you do a negative 999 tune on any car, it could be 3, 4 seconds quicker than dyno. So, you know, so bet smart. Don't just go out there and throw your money around. All right, what do we got? Right. So connection tonight's not actually not that bad. There are days when I can't connect to 50% or 80% of the people in here. So must be a bunch of Android guys. Hey, let's see how good his mono's running. He's tight, and they'll catch up to you a little bit at the end there. Oh, real close. Now I slow my car down slightly. I'm probably running a 10.1. Oh no, I didn't. It's still pretty quick. Um, Without nitrous, it runs right on about 10. And this keeps you in this lobby. Now my RP's starting to go down, but that could be this guy also did not have as many wins as the last guy I beat. But at some point, you're gonna have to give up some wins. You know, just give them some wins, take some wins, keep the car balanced, and it keeps you from getting bumped out of this lobby. Uh, Here's that Ford GT. Again, I showed earlier that what you can do with the Ford GT as well. So you know that car can, in a 10.3 lobby, can easily run a 9.9, but I'm not counting on the fact for this guy, but I'm going to go ahead and slow down a little bit and keep it real tight. Something I like to do when I'm running a down-tuned car is I like to do the same thing I do in real life when I drag race, which is if you're a bracket racer, you fender the guy, which means you always keep your car right there near him so they don't feel like they got you by a huge amount. And what happens is that it's easier to get somebody to race you more when you're doing that than if you kill him with this 9.4 run from the get-go and his car only runs a 10.2. He's going to go, oh, for hell with this guy. I'm never going to race him again. So if you're smart, what you do with a down-tuned car is you always fender the guy. And the way you do that is you have to know your car. You got to know exactly what your car runs, at what shift, which gear, and then you got to know how to downshift to kind of I'll try to demonstrate it without losing because, okay, let's try him. So, oh, race refused. Somebody else? Grandpa Hugo. Let's try Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa. I hope you Grandpa shift too. It's like, come on, no connection. Yeah, let's try him. Wow, there's a lot of GTs in this lobby. I'm surprised. Race refused. Oh, J Rock swap. Maybe I need to find somebody who has a swap symbol. They'll at least see. And couldn't connect. All right, so now this is now you're seeing all the connection issues I'm having normally. That's how it normally is. About 50 to 80% of people, depending on what device they're using, just disconnect, disconnect, can't connect. I don't know what it shows on their end, but I hope it doesn't show I was, you know, refusing them or something. Let's see, Claudia. I like this car too. This is a good car. A few seasons ago, we had this as a PC car. Oh, come on. It's not going to connect either. Might as well go back. Race refused. Actually, I'm the one that went back, but it says the race was refused. CUDA. Let's see if this. Now it's slowing down. Had a few good races, and now nobody's racing. Oh, here we go. All right. All right. So let's say I don't want to beat this guy by too much, right? I'm going to try to keep it real tight. I know how the Ford GT runs. It does a consistent acceleration. It accelerates real quick in the beginning, and then it kind of gets really steady faster as it gets to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my car right in front of him, and then I watch the needle, and that lets you get a real tight race in with somebody. Given that I barely beat him, there's a chance that most racers will give you another run. This is particularly important when you're trading too, because if you're trading with the guy and you're just, you know, way behind or way in front of them all the time, they kind of get irritated. Some of the traders don't like to waste that extra time. But if you keep it too tight and you miss shift, you could beat them on a race you're supposed to lose. That's bad too. So you kind of have to play it, you know, both ways, depending on how you recommend that you set it up and play with it. But again, the down tune only works at a certain level. If you don't have the parts yet, you don't have the stage 6 tire, it's very hard to get the down tune in. So this one, I'm just kind of stage 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 there, 6, 6, 6. That's how it's done. Fusions will affect it. Okay, each fusion you lose, depending on how many Evo points you lose, it's at least maybe a hundreds or 200s in the time. So if you're 100 Evo off, you're gonna lose about a tenth to 2 tenths. So every 100 Evo or two down from where you're at, your car's gonna run at least a tenth or 2 tenths slower. So just be aware of that. So I mean, tonight I think I'm gonna do it. So here's that GT3R actually. Speaking of that car, and here this one I had set up kind of same way without any stage 6. I think I did a video on this, but bottom line is this car, I would say 10.4, 10.5 if it's tuned properly, or maybe I don't have it down tuned. Oh, I do, sort of, not too much. So this one is not a major down tune. It's like a 10.5. So 10.8 on a 10.5, you'll be able to get, you know, you'll be able to get somewhere, but it's not going to be really really competitive at this setup. But then again, I don't have any S6 in there. So 10.8 margin in whatever lobby you end up in. So this is not something you want to run in there and start betting money with. But it should give you at least enough of an edge to win enough races that you can get your key runs in. Now I just have to find somebody to race. Wasn't I just in this lobby? Crip King? I thought this name looked familiar, but more beer. I like that. Let's do more beer. Just a disconnect, so just, might be a reuse. Who cares? Next. Okay. All right, let's try this out. So the GT3R again, with stage sixes, you can make that margin for the down to a lot greater. With this one though, you want to launch it a little bit early and try not to do what I just did, which is bounce the needle in the first shift. That slows you down quite a bit, and that allows that car to catch you near the end. So, well, he didn't, but when you do that first shift, you don't want to bounce the needle. That's kind of the kiss of death for a lot of these cars when you do that. So 10.8 dynos, 10.648 on that run. Wasn't the best, but did the job, got my keys. And that, because I haven't been using this car for a while. Not, and that guy might have been winning a bit. That was pretty good RP for that race. I'm not complaining. Oh, there's another 15 races. Oh, I'm not gonna make it through that. I'll be asleep by the time that happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream here. I think I've shown you guys three different cars now with regard to ability to kind of run them in live. But the biggest monster of downtune here is obviously that Chiron, but the GT can downtune. So all these cars very usable in live. Oh wait, I need to give this guy the race. There you go. Now with different cars too, like when you downshift like that off nitrous, some cars basically lose so much momentum they can never get it back, like this car. So you need to play with your cars to understand that because different cars react differently. Over time, you get the hang of it as you play with each car. And some of your cars will be a lot better at kind of tap downshift and maintaining speed, and certain cars once you downshift it's dead, and then you're just going to lose the race. I know that the Hurricane does that. If you're running in like fourth fifth gear already off nitrous and you decide to downshift, that Hurricane just going to fall flat on its face. So be careful of that when you're trying to sandbag. It takes a little bit of practice to actually get the hang of that. So anyway, that is the end of this live stream. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm glad to see a few people on here with me, and I'll catch you guys on another night. Have a good one.